I told you that your business actually does get to feel like the universe is sending clients to you because you're meant to have clients coming to you telling you that the universe sent you and that the universe is sending them signs to pay you? This is a reality that exists. And this is a reality that I'm ready to sprinkle onto your life because right now you're feeling in this income loop and you see signs everywhere. You sit at your desk, you see numbers all day, you see signs all day, and you go outside in your life and you see signs everywhere. But then when you get to your business and you get into your business transactions, you're serving people, you are making money. That's amazing. But there's something that's missing, and you know this deep down. You're in your purpose, you're sharing your gifts, which is just your whole lifetime in the making. And honestly, this is lifetimes in the making, where you get to, as a woman, potentially a man as well here, but either way, lightworkers sharing their gifts in societies that used to banish people that did that. And so this is huge. But then now you're in your business and you see all this magic everywhere, but you're not feeling it in your day to day when it comes to your business transactions. And I'm here to tell you that this is just showing you that there is another way. Because people will talk about this online all the time, and this is something I see all the time, is that people, especially when I first got online a few years ago, people would talk about the universe sending you clients, the universe sending you clients, but there was no specifics into what that really meant. And so there's a huge disconnect I'm seeing with light workers. And this was something that I went through myself as well. So I'm going to get into my story, and then I'm going to talk all about what I'm talking about here and how to implement this in your business so that you do have magical transactions. So that being said, I see this huge disconnect where these magical light workers are either, trying to bust out of these four-figure loops, or they maybe even just feel, completely chained and caged in their business. They have all this magic. They're this beautiful ancient channel, but then when it comes to business, they almost feel like they're pushing to fill their services, which does not make sense. It literally doesn't make sense because your work is ancient. And so what this is that there is a disconnect and a redirection from where you're supposed to be. You're just being redirected. And that redirection has to do with who you're speaking to, where you're showing up, and how you're showing up. And so we're going to get into that in just a minute. But for now, my name is Lily Ray. I've helped dozens of lightworkers to explode their income and impact through the metamorphosis method, which I will get into a little bit in this video as well. And there's so many resources on my page, so make sure you go back. And I know that I have pieces of the metamorphosis method in some of the masterclasses I've taught, so you're going to want to go watch. I know Full Throttle has that. That's actually the first class where the metamorphosis method came out. And that being said, this has helped lightworkers to bust out of these four-figure cages. And I've helped many lightworkers go from 4 figures up into multiple 5-figure months, 5-figure weeks, and even 5-figure days. I'm talking 21K weeks, 10K days, 30K months. This is the change that happens when you implement what I'm going to talk to you about in this video today. So my story is that I started my business doing tarot readings. I went full in my business. I knew that I was meant to be building wealth. I felt this deep calling to build a business that generated a good amount of income. And for the divine service, your income is directly correlated to the service that you're providing and the level of service and the depth of the service and the amount of the service. You're meant to maybe serve a high volume or serve very in depth, so that being said, I started my business doing tarot readings, and I felt this. I felt could not make more than $1,000 a month, no matter what I tried, no matter if I changed my prices, no matter if I showed up differently, showed up more. It's always around $1,000. I think the most I made was around $1,500 until I implemented the shifts in the video that I'm going to give you in just a minute. And so when I was going through this business journey, I felt the disconnect. I felt it in my mind's eye, how my business was meant to be feeling and looking. And then it just was not happening. I felt such a disconnect. And then everywhere I'd go, I'd see numbers everywhere. I felt so magical in all areas of my life. People would always reflect that to me. And I'm like, why is my business feeling this way? Why is it that it feels so challenging to sell my readings? And so I would also have people reflect at me how good they were, how ancient my work was, how amazing it was, how thankful they are for me. And then, it just felt like crickets. And so that being said, long story short, I went on a whole journey and a journey inwards. I started following intuitive guidance. I had created a blueprint method that I talk about in some of my videos as well, and we're going to talk about in a minute, that I started following, and I was getting the divine nudges. And long story short, I took a trip to Egypt, got so many downloads around what soulmate clients were and the fact that we have soul contracts with other people to serve them in this lifetime. And so when you start tailoring your business, which is what I did, I tailored my business to my soulmate clients, which is Lightworkers. And now I get to teach this amazing work. I've taught so many Lightworkers this work in so many different capacities, people who work with relationships, family, hospital, just so many cool ways that people have now started connecting with their soulmate clients. And so when I implemented this work, first off, within about a month, I made my biggest month, which was about $3,000, which at that time was pretty damn wild. But then within a few months of that, and especially when the word Lightworkers came into my field, my business boomed. It went from 1K months up into 5K months very quickly, and then very quickly into 20K and 40K months. And now my normal has been 5-figure months. And I'm actually in a huge state of expansion right now. So we are scaling to even higher and higher months. And this is because this is the soul-led service I feel called to. So this is the culmination of the work that I'm going to talk about in this video today. But 555 as I look down. But most importantly, what happened during this time was that people started telling me that the universe sent them to me, that I showed up on their timeline in divine timing, that they feel such a soul resonance with me, that the synchronicities are crazy. I started meeting people from my hometowns, which I come from towns in Wisconsin. People started reflecting all of this at me, that I was sent to them and that they knew I was their next step. And I also, my income was calibrated to my goal numbers. My goal was 5K months, hit 5K months. And I said, you know what? This is going to be a 20K month. Started hitting 20K months from there. I felt a 40K month, had a 40K month. And from there, it's been around 5 figures. And so that being said, things just started to almost magically happen. Of course, I have the business skills. Of course, I understand how business works and sales and all these things. But there was this effortless flow to the transactions. There was this magic. They appeared. I didn't feel like I was always stressing and waiting for that next step. I just felt like I knew that everything was falling in place. And so that being said, this is what gets to happen. This is the reality that is waiting for you to claim it. And I'm going to give you some hints and tips and tricks today where you're going to learn how to do this. So long story short, the disconnect that I see with Lightworkers and what I've helped Lightworkers come into my world do is immediately connect to their blueprint, their soulmate audience, and who they are meant to be to unlock all of this. So my favorite part of this all is that I'm basically helping Lightworkers completely live out their vision board instead of having it on the board in front of them, the wall behind, this computer that I know you're watching right now. It's actually actualizing the vision boards instead of waiting for it to happen. It's magic. Because what's happening is you're actualizing your work on this planet. Because right now when you're in these income loops, and especially as a soul who's feeling called to scale, if you're feeling called to my video, it's because you're feeling called to scale and scale very big. This is not actualizing. And I say this with the most love. You're still doing amazing work, by the way. This is not taking away the amazing work that you've done, but there is another layer here. And right now, when you're in this loop, you're not actualizing. So there's something in you that is feeling disconnected because you know that you are meant to be completely scaling your gifts, serving people that feel like soulmate clients. So there's going to be this disconnect. And so this is what I see Lightworkers come to me. I immediately connect them with their blueprint energy. And this is all in meditation. This is something in tools that I teach Lightworkers, which I'm teaching in the Metamorphosis Masterclass coming up. And I'm going to link this below. But that being said, I connect them to their blueprint. We get very clear on the business they're meant to build, what it's meant to look and feel like, because for each Lightworker, it looks different. And the blueprint energy is always going to show you what your business is meant to look like for you. That's the magic of this, is that I will do this with people. They will get glimpses of where they're meant to be living. I've had people get on calls with me, do the blueprint method and say, Lily, I can't work with you yet because I'm moving across the world. This is the magic. So it's your soul literally mapping out your highest timeline, putting it into perspective. And so the other cool part of this is when I help Lightworkers to do this blueprint method, they literally also, when they compare it to their astrology charts, their human design, it all fits very well within that. Their soul puts it out into the blueprint, the way that I help lightworkers map it out. We ask, okay, where are they meant to be living? What's their house meant to be like? We get into the tangibles of the day to day. A lot of times these come up without a lot of questions, but then we get into what their business is meant to look like and the money they're meant to be making and what they're meant to be doing with it and all these things. Because we know that this soul-led service, you're not just meant to be making money to make money. You're meant to make money because you're also distributing it. But you also get the upgraded housing. You also get the life that feels abundant. And you're showing people the way, no matter what type of business you're on or what type of work you're doing. And so after we map out the blueprint, a lot of times this sinks in, there's going to be shifts made in their business, and then we immediately bring in the soulmate client. I have a squirrel teasing me in my window. I wish I could show you guys. So that being said, it's literally hissing at me right now. So that being said, we bring in the soulmate audience. What is the soulmate audience? The soulmate audience is literally the field of people you are meant to be serving, that you have soul contracts with. So think of it like this. You have soul contracts with all the people in your life, or at least most of them. And you can usually tell the difference between someone who's a soulmate connection and someone who maybe is just another soul that you meet up on this journey, because not everybody in your life needs to be a soul contract. I don't believe that's how the world works. Perfectly, at least. And so you have these soul contracts, and you can tell the difference between friends where you have soul contracts and you don't, or maybe friends that don't feel like lifelong soul contracts. The same goes for clients. You've likely, especially being in these loops that you've been in, you've probably had certain people that really stuck out to you, and that's your first clue of the people you're meant to be serving. So for example, when I was sharing tarot readings, I had pretty much amassed a pretty decent following. I had a lot of people who came to my lives regularly. I had some people that booked really regularly, and I love them. I love all those people. They're beautiful people. A few of those people stuck out and kept wanting to book with me and kept wanting to go deeper with me. To this day, they are soulmate clients who interact with my page. They are light workers called to build wealth and called to serve with their gifts. And so that being said, this completely changed everything. This is when I implement this with light workers, they start to see all these synchronicities come out. And the same thing happened for me when I sunk into my soul audience. I started to realize that these people started to come out of the woodworks, the one that I felt the biggest connection with. And so your soulmate audience holds all the keys and codes for who you're meant to be serving, which is the most important part of your entire business. That is what business is. You could make a business and have this business that you have now, and it's a beautiful business that serves people. That is great, but it is not in line with your soul contracts. Are you fulfilling certain soul contracts? Yeah, maybe there's a level of soul contracts, but when you focus your business on these soul contracts, you adjust your messaging, you show up on certain social media platforms, you show up a certain way, you start to have people coming to you telling you that the universe sent you. I'm going to give you a few client examples. I had a client that worked with me one-on-one who has been in the space for a really long time. She's fucking epic. And so we took her through these messaging frameworks, her blueprint, everything. Within just a few weeks, when she solidified a lot of her shifts and all these things, she had people completely come out of the woodwork. And she also started making 4-figure sales, replacing the investment within a very short amount of time. Within 1 to 3 months, she had basically paid off the investment. And not only that, her income exploded. And so she started to get these synchronicities, people coming out of the woodwork. She started to see, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm seeing this. Making 4-figure sales. And then within just a month or two of that, she had a $10,000 week. And then she had $20,000 week and a $10,000 day. And now makes about 30K months from this moment. And she came to me in the exact same state that everybody comes into me. They feel like they're in this cage. They don't really understand it because their work is epic. Another client that I took through this, she had come to me and we did a half-day session. She came to me and she was feeling just that there was this clarity that she knew she was meant to be sinking into. And so she had all these ideas of who the soul audience was. And she came to me and we actually found the through line of all of them. Her audience was super unique. She was speaking specifically to people who had a certain thing in their life that happened when they were kids. And so she spoke directly to that audience, very specific, very, very unique. She had a video that blew up. And she had all these leads come from that. And this was just from a half day session. She actually ended up replacing that investment first off within 24 hours of making it, because she said she booked it and she just felt this huge surge of energy. She ended up doubling the investment, and then she doubled it again the minute that she implemented this work. And so this is what your business is meant to feel like. It is meant to feel magical. It is meant to feel like people are coming to you with synchronicities. They can't believe that you're speaking to them. They feel so seen. They feel so heard. And they know that they're meant to book with you. They feel certain. There's a high level of trust that happens. And so this is what happens when you implement these. The carrot that tops this all together, and we're just going to give a little small notice to this one, is your metamorphosis self, your blossoming self, who you're becoming. Because when you become, and this is the topic, by the way, really quick, of the Metamorphosis Masterclass, who you become unlocks those soul contracts the same way it happens in your life with romantic partners. Think about it. You go in the world. I don't know if you guys have ever heard, I'm sure you've heard of the orbit theory. And so the orbit theory, people will come into your orbit when you've accomplished or alchemized or moved through certain aspects of your soul's journey. So once you've moved through certain things, that person can come into your life. And the same goes for soul contracts. This is what we're going to be talking about in the Metamorphosis Masterclass the most, is who you're becoming. We're going to be talking about all of these things, but we are going to be especially focusing on who you're becoming, and how to also get the correct guidance so that you're not just on these healing traps. You're speaking, you're evolving directly into a version of you that is going to just succinctly unlock these soul contracts. The guidance is clear. Instead of looping and looping, you're now actualizing. You're alchemizing, not in loops and not in healing traps. You're alchemizing and moving forward and having people coming to you saying that the universe sent you. So this is the magic that happens when you implement the metamorphosis method. There's tons of resources that I have. I'm going to link some below for you to start tapping in. There's a community page that we have that you're able to tap into as well. And you're most importantly, if this class hit for you, join the Metamorphosis Masterclass. It's coming up on the 18th, so in 10 days from today. And if you're watching this back after November 18th, the replay will be available for you. So either the link will be here or reach out and ask me. So that being said, Lightworkers all deserve to have a business that makes them feel as though they are living a fairy tale. This is the magic that is waiting for you. You just have to unlock it.